Welcome back to the Simple 2000 series. Today, we are going to look at some public services games. Yep, some military games, got some police in there. We're going to be having a look at them. There is one game in here that doesn't quite qualify, but it still has simulation with a helicopter, so I think it fits. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in a bit. Bye! D3 Publisher tasks you as a developer to make a game about tanks. So, what do you make? How about a game where to battle one another in said tanks? Sounds good. Yeah, well, of course, you kind of expect that in a game featuring tanks. If you had to fight each other, that's cool. So, you control a tank with fairly decent controls, and you take on missions where you destroy other tanks. No more is to be said. That is the entirety of the game. It is obviously has a military theme due to it having tanks, but besides what I've just stated, there isn't much else to the game. There really isn't. You just take on a mission, it requires you to destroy said number of tanks, you destroy the tanks, bingo bango, we're all done. So yeah, it's a budget tank simulation game. That's all it is. It ain't no world of tanks, that's for sure. Okay. This is not exactly a military game, but I didn't really have anywhere else to put this in terms of type of game. I also thought that the game is a flight simulation game featuring helicopters, so why not? It fits. Why not? There's nowhere else for it to go. The first thing you'll realize is that the game is fairly hard to control, mainly because the controls are very accurate, and the slightest touch out of place will send your helicopter spiraling out of control. But it's still better than the RC missions from GTA Vice City, so... With each level, there is a new challenges, such as landing in specific spots or collecting things. It's a budget helicopter simulation game, where you control an RC helicopter. It's fairly difficult in terms of controls, but once you get the hang of it, I think you'd be fine, personally. Can you see this? Or is my capture card fucking up? I can barely see a goddamn thing. So, this is a game where you control a warship and battle other warships in the art of war. How many times did I say war there? I recorded this footage directly from my PlayStation 2, from my copy of the game, and the footage came out like this. Brilliant. The game's very basic. In each battle you use your warship to fire at other warships and planes, but there's no indication of how you're doing, or, am I winning, or am I losing? I don't know. I don't know what, sometimes with the goals, do I need to take down X amount of planes, X amount of warships? Who knows? Each battle just suddenly ends. So, whether or not I'm actually contributing to the battle or not, who knows? Who knows? Because I definitely don't. If I be completely honest, it's kind of boring. What if I told you that a really bad clone of Metal Gear Solid existed? Would you still play it? Now, calling this game a clone of Metal Gear Solid is a really, really big stretch. Either way, welcome to Covert Command, where you take on stealth missions, which really aren't stealth missions, because the enemies can detect you faster than fly on shit. Do you like having a really poor aiming system, so you can barely hit the enemies? Do you like being shot 5 times before you shoot just once? This game is a mess. The controls are extremely clunky, and as you might well be a humanoid tank. There is no fluidity in the controls, making this a chore to play, so you're not going to enjoy it. The only redeeming thing this game has going for it is that the intro cutscene looks like a scene out of a film I've seen, maybe Full Metal Jacket or something. I don't know. I recognize it. I swear, I recognize it. You know how I just said about bad clones of good games? Well, here's another. Ever played SWAT 4? Well, it's a squad-based strategy game where you move into various locations to take down hostiles that have taken over said locations. And you could very well have hostages too. It's a very tactical game. It's a SWAT simulation game. That's why it's called SWAT, you know. It's in the name. It's a very, very difficult game, in my opinion, because it requires a lot of micromanagement. But it's a good simulation game. Now, that game is on PC, as it should be, because the aiming has to be extremely precise, as shooting a target in the arm will leave them injured, but not life-threatening. But shooting them in the chest could very well hit their heart and kill them. That kind of precise shooting, right? Now imagine a budget version of that on the PlayStation 2. You'd have Special Forces, which is terrible in pretty much everything it tries to do. Your worst enemy is the tutorial of all things, as it bombards you constantly while you're trying to play. If you want to teach me the game, then have a training yard or something. I'm not even joking. You could be in the middle of trying to do something that the game has just told you to do. It will then bombard you with a tutorial, which then could potentially fail the current objective. It's fucking stupid. Don't just throw me in there and hope for the best. If the Japanese police force looked at this game, they would burst out laughing, I'm pretty sure. It's terrible. The award for the most original game name goes to Space War Attack! Because throwing darts at a bunch of random, somewhat related words works really well in choosing a localization title for your game. SWA, I'm just going to abbreviate to that, Space War Attack, that's what it means, yeah, Space War Attack, is a flight simulation game where your goal is to shoot aliens while flying around our planet's sky. Remember, the real space war starts at home. The controls are okay, but the levels are fairly bland, as the scenery doesn't change much. Tends to be a kind of game where you just shoot a bunch of alien crafts, and you shoot a big alien craft, and you shoot some small alien crafts again, you know, rinse and repeat. The only interesting thing about the game, in my opinion, is its ridiculous name. So, what did you think of those? I think they're fine for what they are, but there isn't much there. It makes me laugh that they actually charge money for this. These are like, all these are like alpha. These are concepts more than they are games, in my opinion. You know, I could see most people spending all of them maybe an hour at most with each one of these games before becoming bored. They aren't very engaging, and the ones which sound like they could be interesting just based on the concept alone are not well executed. For example, if Covert Command was a literal clone of Metal Gear Solid in gameplay and style, and also had a wacky story to boot, it would be a strange pleasure to play, and would be more well known. You just think about it. How many games can you name out there which are clones of Metal Gear Solid? There isn't really any, are there? So, it has potential, you know. I actually remember now what the intro is copied from with Covert Command, and it is Full Metal Jacket. I was right. So, you know, with an intro like that, it could have at least had a stupid story, but, you know, all you get is what you pay for. 2,000 yen, which is about £14, $18 about now. That's what you'd pay nowadays, and you know, current exchange rate. So that's a lot of money for what you're getting here, in my opinion. A lot of money. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, like and subscribe and comment. I really appreciate if you comment. What was your favorite game out of this list? What was your what you think is the most interesting game on this list? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.